Hello, hello. I adjust my camera a little bit. I guess it's gonna make a difference, really. It's gonna have a little dark haze on it, but it's all right. I should have left it like it was. Got me all blurry. Anyway, how y'all doing? Blessings to each and every one of you. Hope you guys had a blessed week and having a blessed day on this beautiful day. Yes, I said beautiful day because any day above ground, it's a beautiful day. But anyway, this is not my usual setup. Mr. Beta, blessings to you, bro. But yeah, this is not my usual setup, and kind of late. How I usually come on around 6:30, I believe. That's when I usually come on. But I just had a little delay on my setup, and I think you guys not even gonna be able to see this, so I'm gonna have to adjust the camera later on accordingly. But yeah, I'm gonna be reading from the. Well, first we're gonna get started on this thing. All blessings to each and every one of you guys, and I thank you for joining when you do join and everything like that. But all glory goes to the Most High. So I'm going to be reading from 2 Corinthians, the 6th chapter, 11th verse, and all the way through to the 7th chapter, 1st verse. So without further ado, let's get in this thing. Yes, bro, all is well, all is well. So 2 Corinthians 6 and 11. Let's start there. O ye Corinthians, our mouth is open unto you. Our heart is enlarged. You are not restricted by us, but you are restricted in your own affections. Now, for a recompense in the same, I speak as unto my children. Be ye also enlarged, or be ye also open. Verse 14, be ye not unequally yoked together with unbelievers, for what fellowship has righteousness with unrighteousness? And what communion has light with darkness? And what concord hath Christ with Belial? And what part hath he that believeth with an infidel, an unbeliever? And what agreement hath the temple of Yah with idols? For you are the temple of the living Yahweh. And as Yah has said, I will dwell in them and walk in them, and I will be their Yah, and they shall be my people. Wherefore, come out from among them, and be ye separate, says the Yahweh, and touch not the unclean thing, and I will receive you, and will be a father unto you, and you shall be my sons and daughters, says Yahweh Almighty. Chapter 7. Having therefore these promises, dearly beloved, let us cleanse ourselves from all filthiness of the flesh and spirit, perfecting holiness in the fear of Yahweh. Y'all bless the reading of your word. So, Mr. Murphy, blessings to you. Glad to see you this evening. So, the purpose of this text that I read from 2 Corinthians, 6th chapter, come from 11th verse to 7th chapter, 1st verse. The purpose of this text is to actually reveal to us that there is a difference, a separation between the lives of between the lives and the lifestyles of the people of Yah and the people of the world, between righteousness and unrighteousness. Okay, and Paul asked this question in verse 14. He says, what fellowship has righteousness with unrighteousness? And we do know that there is a difference between good and evil, and a difference between light and darkness, and between bitter and sweet. For, the word warns us of that in Isaiah. Isaiah 5:20, when it's about, when he says about mixing one with the other. Isaiah goes on to say, woe to them that justify the wicked for reward and take away the righteousness of the righteous from him. Woe to them that justify the wicked for a reward. It's so much. It's so much I want to say right there, but I have to refrain at this moment. Anyways, the purpose, the purpose of this text in 2 Corinthians is to show us that according to the word, that there is an acceptable and an unacceptable way of living, and it's basically a wide and broad gate that leads to destruction, where many enter in. And then there is a straight and narrow gate that leads to life, where few there be that find it. Okay, so there is a distinction between the two, and it's impossible to walk in the way towards perfecting holiness unless, dearly beloved, we cleanse ourselves from all filthiness of the flesh and spirit. Okay, and Paul says also in Ephesians chapter 4, he says, this I say, therefore, and testify in Yahweh, that from now on, henceforth, you walk not as other Gentiles walk, that you be renewed in the spirit of your mind, and that you put on the new man, which after Yahweh is created in righteousness and true holiness. Righteousness and true holiness. So, yes, renewing our mind, and renewing the spirit of our mind, so that we put on a new man. It's something supposed to be different about us when we come out from among them. And so, it's a lifestyle. It's a lifestyle. In the words of Apostle Earthy Gaskin, it's a lifestyle, not a denomination. Holiness is a lifestyle, not a denomination. So the word in Ephesians goes on to say, neither give place to the devil, meaning don't give the devil opportunity in your life. And there are some things that should not be once named among us, you that have become saints. Mr. Holcomb, blessings to you. And so once you come out of darkness, you become light in Yahweh, and because Yah is light, and we are to walk as children of the light. Okay, and Yah is light, Yah is spirit, and Ephesians 5 even tells us that the fruit of the spirit is in all goodness and righteousness and truth. There's that righteousness and truth again. And so basically proving what is acceptable unto Yahweh, what is acceptable unto him. And so, guess what Paul also says after that? He says, have no fellowship with the unfruitful works of the darkness, but rather reprove, or rather expose them. Okay. And as we expose them, there is going to be some yokes of fellowship that must cease. It just has to happen. Okay. And especially if you take a stand and walk in truth. All right. And with the truth, which is the word, not tradition. All right. Not tradition. And so, and the yoke of bondage, basically, that has us trapped in the cycle of sin, will also cease. So I'm trying to pinpoint this, and it's basically, bottled up in the fact that tradition has us messed up. Tradition has us messed up. It has us blinded. Traditional blindfold. Basically we think we're doing right by being loyal to the tradition, but the tradition is not loyal to the word. Okay? And so if the word speaks against it, we are to resist from doing it, resist from practicing it, resist from participating. So disciplining ourselves, and one interesting thing is discipline and disciple are two words that are very close. They're very close to in their spelling, So, Jesus, Yeshua, he said in John chapter 8, he said, if you continue in my word, then you are my disciples indeed. There's that if then clause again. Okay. There's the if then clause again. And so, and he says, and you shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free from that bondage of sin. Okay. And so know the truth by whom? The truth by the Spirit of Yahweh. And so, the Spirit of Yahweh is in His Word, and we discipline ourselves in His Word in the way that we walk out, we live out His Word in our lives. We become disciples to others by the way we live. Okay, and so the only way for them to notice is if there is a noticeable difference. Okay, and so Job chapter 36 proclaims that Yahweh opens our ears to discipline and commands that we return from iniquity. Basically return from being workers of iniquity. And so, and as far as discipline is concerned, in Proverbs chapter 5, it tells us we'll die for a lack of discipline. And yes, that the reasoning of that folly that's been talked about in Proverbs, it still has something to do with righteous fellowship, because as we ponder the path of our own 2 feet, Yahweh ponders all our goings as well, and so all of our ways should be established according to His word. All right. And so, and if His word speaks against it, man justifying it, whether it's by family ties or tradition, like I say, justifying it does no good. Justifying does no good. And these new laws that are coming out now, new laws that are being pushed. I'm not going to even name which ones they are. If you just follow the news, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But these new laws that are being pushed, new laws don't justify anything either. And so the only law we should be concerned with when it comes to personal agendas is the book of the law called the Bible. Okay, and all law means is rule or instruction. So laws are rules and instructions, okay? And so the book of instruction, the Bible, I'm just referring to, has it all settled and remains unchanged. And so we can't allow the snares of the world to derail us from continuing in His word and following what His word says. And the thing about it that we miss is that there are spiritual ties to things that we do in the flesh. Okay, there are spiritual ties to things that we do in the flesh, and if it has us tied to wickedness in any way, it's causing us to perish. Mr. Everett, blessings to see you this evening. Ties to wickedness is causing us to perish. And I know we don't want to hear that. And, we don't see the destruction that's being caused until it's too late. We need to look at not what's happening on the natural being all the time, though that is important. That has its importance, but we also need to consider what is happening in the spirit. Okay, what is happening in the spirit? And so, I talked to hey, Ms. Brooks, blessings to you. I talked to a dear friend, okay, a friend of mine earlier this week, and we had a conversation, and he told me something that struck me. He said, basically we were talking about a particular subject, and he told me something. He said that it's the hidden scars, the ones that you can't see, that do the most damage. You have to let that sink in for a minute. It's those unseen things that do the most damage. And so, what does the enemy come to do? The enemy comes to steal, kill, and destroy, right? And so to steal, how does a thief come in your house or breaks in your car unless he sneaks and do it? And so if you knew of someone planned to kill you, you look out for them. You watch out for them. You be vigilant. You watch and pray. You beware of your surroundings. Okay, and so 9 times out of 10, though, the murderer sneaks up on his victim, sneaks. And so if you knew someone that had plans to destroy you, you stay away from them, right? The fact of the matter is the sneaky tactic that we have to be aware of. The sneaky tactic, the deception, the deception of the enemy. Okay, the deception of the enemy. Basically, if we're doing something that we don't truly know about, we're just following along, and because that's what we see everybody else doing. We've already set the ground for the enemy to take us by surprise. We set that ground, and so and all in all, causing us to perishing. Think of it in this sense. When Eve was approached concerning the word of Yah, she was told, "You won't surely die. You won't surely die." Basically, making her think that it was okay to partake of what was forbidden, because she won't really perish. You won't be able to tell any difference, Eve. You won't be able to tell any difference. So all that stuff is just blown up. But little did she know, I imagine that, she didn't really have any knowledge of the consequences if she was just going by what she heard from Adam. Okay? Just put a scenario in there. All she did was hear word from Adam. She didn't know the true dire consequences. All she did was just go by what she was told, following along. But little did she know what would happen on the inside of her that would affect her. And so the word tells us in Hosea, the fourth chapter, "My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge, because you have rejected the knowledge. You will be rejected from being a priest unto Yahweh." And so, missing out on the promise, the blessed promise. Why? Revelation, the 20th chapter tells us about that. When the word says that blessed and holy is he that has part in the first resurrection, on such the second has no power, but they shall be priests of Yahweh and of Christ, and shall reign with him 1,000 years. Blessed and holy is he that has part in this. Now remember, the word tells us also that those that reject the knowledge of what? The knowledge of the truth that is revealed in his word, you'll forfeit. Well, not forfeit, but let's just say it how the word says it. You'll be rejected from being a priest. You'll be rejected from the portion that he calls blessed and holy. I don't know about y'all, but I truly desire to be a part of that blessing, a part of that promise. Okay. And so, I'm not here to tell you, what your position is at this point, but I'm just telling you what the word says. Okay. And so, it's detrimental that we know what his word says and is saying to us, and that we walk in it now. Okay. That we walk in it now. And, trying to grasp the understanding. Sister Saxon, blessings to you. Good to see you this evening. And, word tells us, because we're trying to understand this word, with all that get an understanding so that you can correctly apply it. You can correctly apply when you rightly divide. You rightly divide because you begin to know what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of Yahweh's. And it's hard to know it without knowledge of it, knowledge of the word. And don't get me wrong, either that this knowledge, it ain't all about head knowledge. It ain't all about head knowledge. It's about wisdom that is given from on high. And, that's why I can take a stand and say we don't know it all. You know, I can say that no matter who we are, you know, and since, you know, I know some that might not have liked what I said last lesson and called out who we are, but I just said from, you know, from the rooter to the tutor, from the rooter to the tutor, you know, everybody, nobody's exempt, okay? And so, amen. So no matter how much we get, there's always more for him to pour, okay? And so, and you never know where you'll get your next glass of milk. Just saying. And so that's why I try to be nice to everybody. Everybody I come in contact with, because what does Hebrews 13:2 tell us? You know, don't forget to entertain strangers, because by doing so, you might have unwittingly entertained angels. And so give everybody a chance. Is all I'm trying to say. Give everybody a chance. I apologize for the blurriness. On my end, it's looking blurry, but I'm just keep going. I'm not going to mess with it. But, you know, give everybody a chance. All right. And so even if they're not angels, give them a chance, you know. And so enough of that. So now this 1,000 years that we talked about in Revelation is when Christ will reign without any opposition. Okay. Right now it's opposition. But you know, and his kingdom will be characterized by righteousness, peace, and pure love. Okay, and so just throw this out there. It'll be a shame for us to miss, you know, that because we choose to be ignorant over the knowledge. Okay. Like I said, it's not head knowledge either. And so it's one thing, you know, it's one thing to say, you know, to HELL with it all, and, you know, to HE double hockey sticks, I'm going to go. You know, you claimed your own destiny. You claimed your own destiny to that point. But to miss the mark because we choose to say, you know, well, it don't take all that, so I don't need to know about all of that. So I'm gonna just carry on and just tread lightly into the sunset gracefully. You know, gracefully covered by grace. You know, as long as I didn't confront anybody and nobody confronted me, you know, that's fine with me. You know, I don't want anyone to, you know, or the word to make me uncomfortable. So I'm just going to sample here and sample there and reject what I don't like, rejecting the knowledge. Well, you know, just be informed. Just be informed of what rejecting the knowledge of the word of Yahweh results in, according to his word. You know, obedience is better than sacrifice, and we are to obey his word. Okay. And so, you know, in the words of young Elihu in Job, in the book of Job, it said, if they obey not, they shall perish by the sword, and they shall die without knowledge. So obedience, learning in that obedience is very important. So just the word of consequence to disobedience. All right. And so this is what the word is saying, and not just me. This is what the word is saying, you know. So what is happening? What is happening in the spirit here? What is happening in the spirit here? Let's grasp this. Like I said, is this what we? This is what we need to be mindful of, because the enemy has us. The enemy has us thinking that that nothing is being affected spiritually when we don't see anything happening outwardly. Okay, and so, you know, like I said, my friend said, the worst scars are those you can't see. The worst scars are those you can't see. And the scars, the inner scars, look at it like this. They're the works of iniquity that we are unaware of. And before we know it, we're taken over by surprise. And, you know, basically like the surprised workers of iniquity that Yeshua, Jesus talks about in Matthew chapter 7. You know, that's why it's important. That's why it's important to know what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of the Father. Okay? And so Yeshua said that not everyone will enter into the kingdom of heaven, but he that does the will of the Father that is in heaven. Okay? You know, so and Romans tell us to be not conformed to this world, or basically be not conformed to the traditions of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. And what it boils down to is that we got to rethink this thing. We got to rethink this thing. And you know, taking this word as we have as evidence of what the foundation is. We got to have that foundation. Remember, I taught a lesson a while back about that foundation that's on sand and how that foundation ends up. But you know, basically we have to find the root of the tree of life eternal, and this foundation is the rock, which is Christ, Yeshua HaMashiach. And so and Yeshua is pure. He's pure. And if we drink of him, we should also be pure. Okay? And so, and we know that he is light, and in him there is no darkness. There is no darkness. And so when we partake, when we fellowship with ceremonial practices and customs that stem from ways of wickedness, because of that darkness, we know in our hearts, we know Christ the Messiah is not in it. You know, because in him there is no darkness. 1 John 1:5. So we may say that Christ is a part of it, and everybody takes on the form of it being so, but Christ is really not in it. Kind of like in a reserve thing, if I could explain it in quick tip. You know, why? Because what does the word say? What accord does Christ have with Belial? We went over that in 2 Corinthians. So, or what part has he that believes with an infidel? He that believes with the unbeliever. And so we see that the mixed fellowship, of righteous and unrighteous is invalid. It's invalid. And if Yah has no agreement with it, he's not part of it either. And if we're a part of that, he's not a part of us. Okay? Tough truth, but it is that's what it is. But you know, his spirit truly is reserved from worldly fellowship. Okay? And it's not representing him in truth. And what does the word say? That those that worship me must worship me in spirit and in truth. And so, you know, I know we don't want to admit it. We don't want to admit it. You know, we really don't. But righteousness and unrighteousness, it can't coexist. It can't commune, or can it fellowship together? There's a separation. And so that's why he says to us, come out from among them and be ye separate and have nothing to do with the unclean thing. And then I will receive you as my own. There's another if and then clause again. It's all over the place. But, you know, his ways are not our ways, especially if our ways are the ways of the world. Okay. And, but if our ways are his ways, our ways are not the ways of the world. Follow me? Okay. So, you know, our fellowship would be represented completely differently than how it is today. And, you know, really, realistically, it'll be represented differently spiritually and physically. Physically and spiritually. Physically, because we want to adopt the world's form of observances that they've acquired, that were acquired from ways of wickedness and darkness. Okay? You know, that's the exposure there. That's the exposure, because a lot of people, it's a shock to them when they find out. And some people don't want to listen to it, don't want to hear it, don't want to accept it. But you know, a lot of the worldly ways of celebration is derived from ways of wickedness and darkness. That's just the truth. When you really get into it, you'll find out. But also spiritually, how it's represented differently, because the Spirit of Yah manifests its fullness when we adhere to His word. Okay, and I know some people just won't believe this. Some people just won't believe this. But it is what it is. But I know, like, when you're usually telling a story to somebody and you like, they did this or they did that, they did this, and somebody be like, who is they? Well, the they I'm talking about, I don't know who the they is, okay? But, they just allowed paganism and biblical principles to blend, to shut us up physically, okay? And spiritually, it is to keep us in bondage to the vain, sinful ways that the heathen does. Okay? And now the spiritually they, who they are, those are the principalities, the powers, and the rulers of the darkness of this world. Okay? So that's what I'm saying. It's affecting us spiritually and physically. And that spiritual side, you can't see it, and before you even notice it or know it, could be a little too late. But the darkness of this world has its own pattern. Okay, it has its own pattern, and most of us are without knowledge of it. We're ignorantly sowing the patches of that pattern by being in agreement. By being on accord, and being in harmony with the worldly pattern of this world. Hi, Minister Leffert, blessings to you. And so, just look up the cycle of how pagans do things. Just look up the cycle. Round and round at their appointed times. They have, yes, I said around and round at their appointed times. At their appointed times. They have certain things that they do to appease and receive the blessing in return from whatever they are appeasing at the time. Okay? And so, what happened? What happened is that the church, the ecclesia, has substituted Yahweh's appointed times for the pagans' appointed times and blended the two together to make up the holidays we have now, okay? And so, and truth be told, it's just about every last one of them. It's just about every last one of them. Okay, Minister Level, that's fine. Blessings to you. But those holidays, they are tied to wickedness, and because we have no knowledge of it, or we reject the knowledge, is causing us to perish. Okay, so just following up on that point, and so and no, we may not notice it, but our Father in heaven sees and is taking note, because we are to follow His will. We are to follow His will, not Wicca. Then we wonder why. Then we wonder why the devil is creeping in to the church even more. Cletus, blessings to you, bro. Yeah, we wonder that. We wonder that. Why is the devil creeping into the church even more? Yes, I said even more, because Satan has already creeped in. But even more because now we have this new thing. It's probably not even the most recent thing either. That's the sad thing about it. But the recent thing that I know about is this prophetic psychic movement, ministry movement. Okay, and so I know some people might be like, "What? How is that even possible?" Yeah, it's happening. It's happening. Yes, complacency and rebellion. Wow. But we don't supposed to fellowship with that. But when you're already associated with their ceremonies and observances, no wonder. No wonder. It just, what was it I just said? Giving the enemy the opportunity. Just giving them the opportunity, And so, anyways, I'm actually trying to address, man, I've been trying to do this for a couple of weeks now. I'm actually trying to address something completely different, but I keep getting drawn in this direction. I keep getting drawn in this direction. But even still, thank you, Holy Spirit. Thank you, Holy Spirit. I give you glory in all that I do. In all and through all. Okay? Okay, so. All right. I'm going to have to, what's up, Barry? Blessings to you. Good to see you this evening. I'm going to have to move the camera up a little closer. And I got my marker here because I'm going to have to darken this stuff in. But hopefully I can make this process a little smoother than I did last week. Because last week I attempted to show you what's in the name Yahweh and how it comes about to be. And I basically came as close to epic fail as you could possibly perform. But yeah, I know you can't see anything that I've written on here, but like I said, I have pre-written stuff, so it'll be a little faster and smoother process. And so I'm going to attempt it again, and hopefully it's more understandable, and the people that actually did grasp a little bit, maybe to help a little bit more. It's more than likely one of them things that has to be gone over time and time again to actually get the understanding of it, get to grasp the importance of it, the significance of it, what have you. So, like I said this before, this is just to inform you now. This is just to inform you, not make you do anything. I'm not here to make you do that. But hopefully it'll pique your interest. It'll pique your interest, and you'll go look for yourself and do some digging on your own, and let the Holy Spirit lead and guide you in all truth. Okay? And so, all right. So, what was it last lesson? I used the text coming from the book of Exodus, and it was it was actually Exodus, the 3rd chapter, the 13th verse through the 15th verse. And so I'm not going to read this with any type of interpretation or revelation except what is written in the Bible. Okay, I'm not going to change anything or anything like that. I'm gonna just read it normally. So let's go here and let's refer to this Exodus, the 3rd chapter, 13th verse through the 15th verse. Okay, all right. 13th verse. And Moses said unto God, Behold, when I come unto the children of Israel, and shall say unto them, The God of your fathers has sent me unto you. And they shall say to me, What is his name? What shall I say unto them? And God said unto Moses, I am that I am. And he said, Thus shalt thou say unto the children of Israel, I am has sent me unto you. And God said moreover unto Moses, Thus shalt thou say unto the children of Israel, The Lord, God of your fathers, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob, has sent me unto you. This is my name forever, and this is my memorial unto all generations. So Moses was in conversation with Yahweh, God, that we read here. He was in conversation with Yahweh and asked him, Basically when I go to the children of Israel and tell them, you, the God of our fathers, that you sent me, and they ask, what is his name? Who shall I say sent me? What should I say to them? And so let's read verse 14 again, and then I'm going to go back and read it. I'm going to go back and read it in his original language, the Hebrew language, afterwards. See if I can understand my chicken scratch here. So, in the regular language, it says, in that response, and God said unto Moses, I am that I am. And he said, thus shalt thou say unto the children of Israel, I am has sent me unto you. Okay, so a little bit slower processing here because, when you're trying to speak a whole nother language, it's a little different, a lot different. And it seems more complex than it really is, but you're elementary to it. Okay, so let's try a little Hebrew here, which the Old Testament is written in, right? So it says, starting at verse 14. I already read it in the regular way, so starting in the Hebrew. Weyomer Elohim El Moshe Eye Asher Eye Weyomer Kotoma Libne Yisrael Eye Sele Hani. Okay? Now what I want to just bring out in a point. Can I read that a little faster if y'all have patience with me? I know I'm probably going a little bit over my time that I usually go. But Weyomer Elohim El Moshe Eye Asher Eye. I am that I am. And Weyomer Kol Toma Libne Yisrael Eye Selenahadi. Okay? And I probably didn't say everything like it should have been said, but I believe it was close enough, okay? Just to help us here. And so that's what I read in verse 14 of Exodus 3rd chapter. All right. Now, what I really want to bring out, just to make a point real quick, is here in the first two words, Weyomer Elohim and God said that's what it has in the Hebrew, Weyomer Elohim. Okay. Now, and then he said, Elohim said unto Moses, unto Moshe, my name, Eye Asher Eye, I am that I am. So, the point I just really wanted to make, trying to get to is that God and Eye Asher Eye is two different names, two different words. Okay, just keeping it simple. They're different. All right, so let's get to the board here. All right, just have patience with me, people, please, and hopefully we can help each other with this thing here. Okay, so what are we trying to explain here? What are we really trying to explain? All right, we're trying to explain because we're so familiar with the term God and Lord. And, if anyone says anything different, first thing is it'll raise an eyebrow of some sort. And, not going into detail of the thoughts, but it'll raise some eyebrows because you're not using God, you're not using Lord. Real question is, where does God and Lord come from? But we're not going to get there yet. All right, so hopefully y'all guys, you know what? Let me get some. I'm trying to get y'all a little closer to this board here. All right, because I don't think I'm gonna need my BIBLE for some time. All right, so hopefully this can, and I'll have to adjust accordingly. But hopefully you guys can see this thing here, man. Let me take the comments off or something so I can really see the board, see what y'all see. All right. So what are we trying to get to, huh? We're trying to explain this name here. Yahweh. That's the name we're trying to explain. Okay? And I'm wondering, why do you guys see that backwards? Or is it that just I'm just seeing it backwards? I hope it's not like that. But anyway, all right. Well, that's even better, because in the Hebrew, it's actually read from right to left, and versus how English is read from left to right. So Hebrew is actually read from right to left. But anyway, we're trying to explain this name, Yahweh. Where does this come from? That, it's so profound of a name that we believe that it can be, that it's in place of what we know normally as God and Lord. All right. So when Moses asked who should I tell them that sent me? Because if I just tell them that the God of your father sent me, they're gonna want to know what his name is. It's basically what Moses said. And Yahweh answered him. He said, I already have an E there. Man, that's an E. Asher. Okay. Eye, Asher, Eye. And also the thing about it, and I guess the reasoning behind the way that this is actually said differently in some ways is that because in Hebrew, the way that certain letters are placed in the word, they can adopt many different vowel sounds. Okay, and we'll go over just a few of those. And so, what also can be taken from this is another Hebrew translation that gives this name that Yahweh tells Moses. Ayah. Ayah, one of them two, like that. Ayah. Ashar, not Asher, but Ashar. Ayah. Okay? And so, now, like I was telling you guys, English is read from left to right, where Hebrew is written from right to left. So this odd A, I'm going to go over how the sounds, contrast between each other, compare between each other, how they go together. Okay, so what happens here? All right, I'm going to spell what Aya or Aya is and spell what Ashar or Asher is. Okay, so Aya, this word Aya, I'm writing from the right to the left. I hope this thing is coming up right for you guys. But Aya is going to be from like this point here. All right, first it's Aleph, and then it's Hey, and then it's a I forgot that. It's a Yod, and then it's a Hey. Okay, so it's the letters Aleph, Ha, Yod, Ha. So it's a silent. It can be silent. It can be a Ya. It can be a Ah. And it can be an A. And I'm going to go over a couple of those sounds with you in other words, so you know that it does adopt those sounds. But then you have the H. Then you have the Y. Then you have the H. Okay, that's Aya or Aya, Aya. All right. Then you have Asher or Asha. Come on now, Parker, don't film me now. And now these things might not be written precisely how they should be written, but I'm trying to get it as close as I can. Hope you guys can see this. Get a little closer. Just to that point right there. Okay. All right. And then this word here, eye, is said again, right? Eye, asher, eye, right? So this is your same word, identical word as this one. Got your aleph, got your H, got your Y, and you got your another H. All right? So what's really significant about this word eye or aya is that it's made up of 3 root words. There's 3 root words that comes from that this word comes from. Okay, and so 3 root words here. That make up this word here. The first one is haba. The second one is aba. And then the third one is haya. Okay? All right? Now, the way this haba is written, you have a HBH. So you write your H, you got your H, you have your B, then you have, it's actually either a silent or an ah sound, okay? Like I said, I'm gonna go over the sounds again. I'm gonna go over the sounds real quick too, but I just wanted to get this ground, this foundation set up first. Okay, so we have Abba as well. You have Haba, you have an HB, Aleph, the letter Aleph, and then you have Ava. This is the second word that makes that's a root word of this word Aya. So this is actually with an Aleph. Starts with Aleph, then it's a B, then it's a H. Man, it's supposed to be a little space right there, okay? Sorry I messed it up. But anyway, all right. So then you have the third root word that makes up Aya is Haya. And this is spelled with H-Y-H. So that's the letter H, Yod, letter Y, another H. I'm getting a little tired here. I see I'm getting a little sloppy. But anyway, so like I said, you have your H here, your B here, and that could be a silent or an ah sound, which in this word, as you can see, is haba, ah sound. Here you have your A. Yes, it can be an A as well. Ah. And then you have your B sound again. And then you have your H sound. Ah. Okay. On this haya, you have your ha and your H. You have your yod, so you have your Y. And then you have your ah again with your H. Haya. All right. So as you can see, sorry about that. As you can see, if I just get a little closer there, all right. As you can see, these words that are the root words of this word do come into play when you say or write this word Eye. You have your Aleph in these two. You have your H. And oh man. Sorry about that. It actually shows up a little better, don't it? All right, let's do it like that. Okay. And then you have, what is that? Did I say? Oh yeah, your Yod, your Y. You have that here in this Haba. Haya, I mean. So you have these 3 words intertwined in this word Eye. Okay? So, all right, we said we were going to go over I promise one day I'm going to have a much better setup. Speak those things as though they were. All right, so this where do I want to go? Okay. Now wish I had this whole board. You can see this whole board. All right. This letter here, this Bob. This is Bob. That's the letter Bob, and it's actually either a V. Come on, marker. V or an O or an U. Okay, it can be a V, O, or U. This is the letter Bob. Okay. It's the letter Bob. So then this Aleph, just bear with me for a second here. Okay, this Aleph here, this Aleph right here, come on thing. Like I said, it's either, it can be a ya sound, it can be an ah sound, an eh sound, or it can be silent. And then you have your letter hey as well that I want to talk about. Hey, letter H. And it's also, it can be a ha, it can be an a, it can be an ah, it can be a hey, and it can be an o. Depending, like I said, depending. Now Hebrew language is much more in depth than our language. So yes, like when these letters are placed different places in the word, they have different vowel sounds, so to say, and that's how you get so many multiple different sounds. So all right. What I want to say next. All right. So then let's just talk about this from the beginning here. Yah. This right here already in itself is Yah. Okay? And you know the tetragrammaton is what it's called, that we get the name of Yah from. And that is, you have there's still dispute over which one it is. Either it's a YHVH or it's a YHWH. My point is that in the Hebrew alphabet, there is no W at all. This letter here is, like I told you here before, is Vav, V-A-V. It's Vav. Yeah, it's no W in the Hebrew. No W. Okay? No W in the Hebrew. That's where we get the V from. And that's the actual, the tetragrammaton is written as so. You have your yod, you have your hey, you have your vav, then you have your hey. You have your Y, H, then you have vav, which is a V, H. Okay? That's your Y, that's your H, and you have your V, H right there, okay? So, when we go on down here, hopefully you guys can still see this. I'm trying to help you out. I'm gonna put it in my marker. Now, this is where some people get the interpretation that there's a W in the actual Tetragrammaton, and there are people that will say Hayya, Yahaya. I mean, they will say Yahaya, even Yahweh. You'll also hear that, Yahweh. But my thing that doesn't have me agreeing with those two interpretations is that they don't have all the three root words. Not all three root words, okay? Not all three root words. You have your Yahaya, Yahweh. Well, if it's going to have all three root words, if you go up here, somewhere it has to be a va in there. Because already two of these root words that make up this word has a va in there. Yahaya and Yahweh don't have a V in it. So it's not building up the name that will make up all three root words. It's missing something in there. Can we agree with that? Okay, so now we're going to go over some of these sounds, so you just won't think that I'm assuming these sounds here. Okay, so let me see what I was about to say. All right. So this is the word Aya again, right? You have your Aleph, you have your H, you have your Y, you have your H. Okay? Aleph, Ha, Yod, Ha. So we're trying to establish that this Aleph can be with the Ya sound. We already know that it's silent. It can be silent. Okay, now we're trying to establish that it also can make a Ya sound, right? So this would be Ya. This is also how some people get the interpretation is Yahaya, because we're going to make this a Ya, okay? I'm going to show you how that can make a Ya sound. Then you have your Ha, then you have your Ya. Ha, then Yahaya. Okay, that's why some people also come to that conclusion. But to support what I'm saying with this Aleph can have different sounds to it, is that let's look up the word Israel. And you can also look up some of this stuff as well and compare and contrast what I'm saying as well. All right. So this word here, Israel. Remember I told you us is left to right. For them is right to left. So first you have your Y. Come on. You have your Y, that's a Yod. Then you have your S or sh sound. Then you have your Resh. And some of these letters look kind of similar. That's another thing when it comes to pronunciation of the Hebrew language and writing the Hebrew language. Some of these letters are very similar to each other. And so, but Resh, this R has like a very thick upper part of it, very thick. And then so you have your Aleph again, and you have L. It's kind of like a 7 with a squiggly line up. This is the word read from right to left, Israel. Pronounced in the Hebrew is Yisrael. Yisrael. Now, if you say Israel, you can hear the yeah in there. Israel. Israel. You hear it. It's right in there. Like I say, depending on where these letters are in the word, they will adopt those sounds, that sound. And this is where you can get the Yah sound from the Aleph. Israel. Yisrael. There's your possibility of the Yah sound, right? Okay. And then going over further, let's establish. So we have the silent, then we have the Yah. So where's the ah sound for the Aleph? Right? All right. Where is that sound? Where's the ah sound for Aleph? Okay. The ah sound from Aleph, as we discussed earlier, Aleph, Ha, Ya, Ha, Yod, Ha. That, can you see this? That Eye is also said in the Hebrew translation. It can be Ayah. So Eye, Ayah. So there's your Ah sound right there with the Ayah. And what really makes it interesting, even more interesting, when you make this the Ayah sound, you know how in Hebrew it's read from right to left, in English it's read from left to right. If this Aleph has this ah sound, you can say it either way, beginning and the end. Beginning and the end. Where did I put my, right here? You have your ah, Yah. And you also have, if you say it this way, ah, Yah. Beginning and the end. I am the Alpha and Omega. Beginning and the end. So, yes, there's your ah sound. So, ahaya. Okay? Yahaya as well. That's where some people get that interpretation. Let's go over here real quick and explain this one here. Now, when we have all of that as our base, yes, you still have your Aleph, you have your H, which is Ha, you have your Yod, and you have your A, which is another H. Like I said, here in this sounding here, if we use the ah sound, is ahaya. Now, I forgot what I was going to say right there. Yah, ha, eh. Yes. But even still, in this, if you pronounce it this way, like I said, that some had that pronunciation, Yahaya or Yahaya, they're still not the V from the root word. No V from the root word. Remember, it's Yah, Ha, Be. Yah, Ha, Be. Okay? And what I want to Elohim. Oh, do I even need to bring up that point? Oh yeah, just to make this point here, that when you have the olive, I'm just making a point here, but we kind of surpassed this, but I'm kind of backing up. The olive, remember I said it has a yah sound, has an ah sound, has an a sound, and it can be silent. Now we covered the ah, we covered the yah, we covered the silent. Now, where is that a sound that I said this letter can have? Well, the word, man, you guys seeing this? Okay, I'll move it up right there. The word Elohim has it in there. So you have your aleph, you have your L, you have your H, you have your Y, and then you have a meme. That's what that word letter is. And this is pronounced lo. Put a Y down there in parentheses because you have your Y. Elohim. So your O, that's where you get the O sound in your H, and you get your E sound in your aleph. Like I said, it just depends on where exactly they are in the word that they adopt these sounds. And so yeah, so this is your O right here. All right. Like I said, this is in Hebrew, it's read that way. Elohim. Elohim. Okay. All right. So, right here. I don't forgot why I put this here, but let's go over and see if it comes from my remembrance. Yeah. Okay. That's actually this word here that's given in the name that Yahweh told Moses to call me. Tell the people that this is who sent you. Yeah. So, all right. You have your E sound here. Remember that's an E. That's your H. You have your yah. You have another H. Then you have your E sound. Yeah. Read this way, yeah. Read this way. Can you see that up there? I'm gonna hand that. Okay. Read this way, yeah. Remember, it's read this from this point to that point, so it's yeah. And with the sounds, it's still with this word here backwards. You have your aleph, then you have your H, then you have a Y, then you have your H. It's still yeah, beginning and the end, forward and backward, alpha and omega. So, when reading this, here, I say this is still your Yah, your H, Ha, now in this sense it has a Y in there, and then it has a E, Yah, Ha, yeah. Get that Bob from. Okay, yes, that's what it is. All right. Remember what I've told you about how a lot of these letters are similar to each other, and they can easily be mistaken from one letter to the next, from one sound to the next. Can actually happen. Now, so even with this Yah-ha-yeh, we don't have all three root words in it. So if we are to have a combination of these three root words into the word of Eyeh, there's going to have to be a V in there somewhere for the root words to all combine together. Did you see that? Okay, yes, you saw it. So, just to show you, you have, with this, we're going to have all three root words. You're going to see all three root words in this name. So, keep in mind this stuff was inscribed on tablets and on, what do you call that? Not artifacts. Cuneiform. So, especially when something has not been preserved, it's going to be not in the best shape. But anyway, like I said, we're going to get all three root words in this Eyeh. All right. So you have Yah-ha-veh. Let's read it from the Hebrew way, coming from this way. Yah-ha-veh. Okay. So you have your Yah. Remember I told you up here that is actually the word or name Yah. That is actually Yah all within itself. Then you have a Ha. Then you have the Vav, which is a V. Then you have another H. So, what are you doing here? What are you doing here, Demetrius? What are you doing here? These two H's combined. You still have your Y here. You bring your you bring your V down and you bring your H down. That is the tetragrammaton. That is the same as this. Yah-ha-veh. Yod-he-vav-he. Yod-he-vav-he. Now, also, don't want to go there. Why not? Remember, the aleph here, even if you brought it down into this Eyeh, which this Yod can become as well. Why do you say that? Because of the Yah sound that's here, Israel. Remember that? So there's still your Y, H, B, and your H. And when you either put this translation of it in or this translation of it in, you have all three root words. And you still have your Yod, Yod, Hey, Vav, Hey. Okay, so you have your aleph, bam. You have your H, you have your V, and you have your H. You have your aleph, you have your H, you have your V, and you have your H. Okay? All three root words in that. And your Yod Hey Vav Hey, even if you substitute that with the Aleph that comes from Ehyeh, you still have your three root words, because you have your Y, you have your H's, you have your B's, and you have your H's. You have all three root words in this name, Yahweh. You don't find that in Yahweh, Yahweh, Yahweh. You don't find those three root words in that. Okay, and so that was my whole purpose of. I know it took a long time to come around there and bring this thing together, but hopefully it helps someone if you paid attention. No, it was lengthy. I'm not the best teacher, not the most entertaining teacher, but I'm just doing the will of my Father. So, what sense does this make when you come doing all of this and bringing this all together? Because what did we first say about Lord and God? Because no matter how long it took me to bring all of this together, it was brought together. It was finalized in a conclusion that this can be the name of the Most High, because it comes with every last one of these root words that make up what Yahweh told Moses his name was. So, we go down here. I just want to show you something, all right? Because this is my concern. This is my true concern, and we'll see this in the end. Because we came to the conclusion of Yod Hey Vav Hey, right? You got your Yod, you got your Hey, you got your Vav, and you got your Hey. And actually, written in Hebrew, it'll be this way: Yod Hey Vav Hey. Y H B H. Okay? Now, when you take this tetragrammaton that has been depicted from the Hebrew language as this is the name of God, without any studies or anything like that, you see it in the Bible that is YH. Yes, its interpretation is WH, but like I said in my explanation before, it's YHVH. But it's there. We know this name, right? Well, how do we depict that this name, it takes precedence over any other name that has been given to the Most High, i.e. Lord, Lord, and God, God. Now, we already have YHVH. Let's just take the word, because that's really what it is. I'm just telling you that, or term God, God. In the Hebrew, if you look this up, this G is written like that. This O, I forgot exactly, but I think it's something similar to the H. And then you have the D, which is like some kind of funky 7. All right? That's G-O-D. In the Hebrew, it's written like this. G-O-D. That looks nothing like this. This looks nothing like this. This is the name given in the Hebrew for the name of Yah, of the Most High. They look nothing alike. Well, what about Lord? Because that's a 4-letter word, right? G-O-D is a 3-letter word. Yahweh is, YHVH is 4 letters. What about L-O-R-D? L-O-R and D. Remember over here, what we said before in Israel, on the other side that you can't see that I'm pointing at over here, this L is like a funky looking 7. And then you have this here with a squig on top. and then 7 with a twig on top. Then you had an O that's kind of similar to what the V looks like. Then, like I said, you had that resh, that R, is very thick up top, and then it comes down. Like I said, a lot of these letters look very similar. That's why it's so much, misinterpretation, I'll say, of actually what these letters and sounds were like. And all it was the enemy took away the true pronunciation. Okay, that's what we have to see in the spirit. All right, but anyway, then we have this D here that is just like this one. It's that I don't know, whatever. But either way, and in the Hebrew, it's done this way: squiggly up top, L. Then you have your O. Then you have your R. And then you have your D. That looks nothing like that. Lord, it's nothing like Yahweh. No matter how you try to squeeze it or switch up the letters or turn it around or read it this way or read it this way or read it that way, it's no way that it's going to be read specifically precisely like Yahweh is written, that is given to us in the Hebrew language. So what happened? These are substitutes. These are indeed substitutes for this. These two are substitutes for this. Substitutes. Why would you even be brave enough to say something like that? Well, because the word reveals it to you. It reveals it to you too if you go into it with the open heart. Why would you say something like that? Turn to Exodus, the 6th chapter, in the 3rd verse. 6th chapter, 3rd verse. And this is when I read it normally, so we can just get on past it. Exodus 6th chapter, 3rd verse. It says, "And I appeared unto Abraham and Isaac and unto Jacob by the name of God Almighty, but by my name." Then in my book it says Jehovah. That's something else already. We're not even get on that. "Was I not known to them?" Okay, that's what it says. And I appeared unto Abraham and unto Isaac and unto Jacob in the name of God Almighty, but by my name Jehovah, was I not known to them? Now, if you read this in the Hebrew language, again, in the original language that this text was written in, you're going to find that I don't know if you can see that really good or not, because I don't want to trace over all of that. But it says here, I just wrote Exodus, the 6th chapter, 3rd verse there. And it says, "I appeared unto Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob as God Almighty, but I did not reveal myself to them by my name, Yahweh." Now, in the Hebrew, it says here, like I said, it's a lot of dispute about whether it's YHVH or YHWH, but it at least considers his name and says my name, YHWH. It says Yahweh if you read it in the Hebrew. In my biblical app that I have. Okay. And so what's really interesting about that is that if it went to the extreme to make sure this name, by my name, that it says by my name, and it says this name correctly, Yahweh. Okay, we'll take that. Yahweh. Up here, at the beginning of this verse, in Exodus 6:3, when it says, "I appeared to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob as," please look at this. Please look at this. As God Almighty. That Hebrew word there is Baal. It is not Yahweh. It didn't say I appeared to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob as Yahweh Almighty, but I did not reveal myself to them by my name Yahweh. It didn't say that. It says I appeared to them as Baal Almighty, but I did not reveal myself to them by my name Yahweh. Specifically, is written in the language B, the upside down E, backwards E, dot E-L, Baal. Baal, if you really go through, thinking in a lot in Genesis, when it starts talking about how the earth was split up and separated, and they had all these different leaders and stuff. And it goes through the names. And I know a lot of times when I read the Bible, I would skip over names, skip past names, and I would be like, man, that's just too much right now. I'm just going to pass by the names and just keep on going. But in some of those descriptions of the names, it'll talk about how the descendants of one person to another, and then it'll talk about the leaders of these descendants, and it will name them dukes. Let's go back to Baal. Can you see that? Baal is nothing but this word, Lord. It's sourced from the Hebrew name Baal. Baal, B-E-L. When I told you this was a B upside down E-E-L. Like that. Baal. That's Baal. This is the appearance that is described here in this sentence. And the dukes that were over these people when like I said, the separation between the lands and all of that started happening. The dukes, the Mardukes, which is actually what Baal is. It's a Marduk. And in the Bible, it names them as Duke this, Duke that, and Duke this was over this, and Duke this was over that. All that in Genesis. Baal, these people, like I said before, a long time ago, when these giants were on the earth, these people actually resulted to worshiping these leaders, these giants, and they called them Lord, and they called them God and Baal, because they that's what the name was given to them. The name, they didn't know no other name, and so when the scribes got a hold of the word, and some of them that, I guess, for lazy, for lack of better terms, they began to substitute these names for the real name of Yah. So that's why I take so much importance in pronouncing the Most High's name as His specific name that is given to us, that has all three root words in there. It comes together as Yahweh. YHPH. Yahweh. YHPH. Tetragrammaton. So, yeah, I hope this kind of helped somebody. I don't see anybody on here live right now, so I guess I was really talking to myself. But I was told by a wise man that, you're not speaking to people. You're speaking to the spirit in the air. The spirit will take the word where it needs to go. So therefore, that's what's going to happen. Whoever this word reaches and it blesses them, I pray that it blesses them. I know it will. And you just receive it with all open heart and pray about it. And let the Most High lead and guide you in all truths. And so till next time, guys, Y'all be blessed. And we give all glory, praise, and honor to the Most High. Love each and every last one of y'all. Thank you. Bye.